Happy morning, dear friends. Here's yours, Dr. Ajanta. Welcome to tutorial 7 of a data science and machine learning series. In this session, we are just going to look at how to use data structure to store more complex types of data that help to model the actual data and represent it in the real world. In programming language, data structure refers to objects that can hold some data together, which means they are used to store a collection of related data. There are four types of data structures in Python, that is list, tuple, dictionary, and sets. And dear friends, today we are just going to discuss about the list. You will know how to look at the first type of data structure in Python, that is the list. A list is a type of container in Python that is used to store multiple data sets at the same time. Python lists are often compared to arrays in other programming language, but they do a lot more. A list in Python is written with a square bracket, and each element in the list has its own distinct position and index. The element in a list has a finite sequence. Like other programming language, the index of the first item of a list is 0 and the second item has an index of 1 and so on. So this has to do with how lists are implemented at a lower programming level. So do take note of this when you are writing indexed based operations for list and other iterable objects. Okay, let me just go with the exercise related with this list. See here, dear friends, let me just enter with the starting. So here we are having the variable, that is the list variable shopping, and we are having the elements. Three elements are there. One is bread, milk, and eggs. And here, when on executing, that is when you just want to make use of this print statement and you on executing this, yeah, you created a list called shopping and added items to your list like bread, milk, and eggs. And since a list is a type of iterable in Python, you can use a for loop to iterate overall of the elements inside a list. So here it is how you can just make use of it. So a for loop, and let me just observe the output. See here, dear friends. So we are just going to have thus shopping, the variable, and we are just going to print each and every item by using the for loop. And here it is the output. Added to this, dear friends, Python lists are different from arrays used in other language such as Java or C Sharp, but Python actually allows mixed types in a list, that is int on the string or any other data types. And see here, when on just making use of this, here we are having a mixed variable where it is the list variable, and we are having three elements in this, that is 365 days and true. And see here, all every elements whichever being object here are in of different types. Yeah, you might be wondering in this case, so let I just execute this first one. See here, this exact list, it just has integer type, a string type, and a boolean too. So let me just make use of this known as, which we just also can make use of nested also. Let me just make use of that nested functionality in our next exercise. See here, dear friends, most of the data we store in the real world is in the form of tabular data table, that is rows and columns. So instead of one dimensional flat list, such tables are called matrix or two dimensional array. And here when coming to the Python, actually it is a programming language, do not provide table structure as it is not the role of language to do so. So a table structure is simply a way to present the data. Now what you can do it is to present the table structure. So let me just have a matrix making use of it, and yeah, mathematically you can present the information which we are just making in a tabular manner that can be presented in the matrix format. So let me just make use of that concept here. And see here, dear friends, m is the variable which we are just going to store the matrix as a series of list inside a list, and which is just called the nested list. So when on just executing this, yeah, we just get the output. I have already commented here as like 1 2 3 and 4 5 6. But when we just want it to be printed, yeah, we can now access the element. Totally how many elements is there? It's actually, it is from 6 elements, and when we just want to make use of that, yeah, we can just directly provide the index and we can extract it, and you can also access to the top element. So here when I'm just making use of it, you can just present it by row comma column notation. And when I'm making here, the m is our variable, where if we just give 1 and 1, yeah, so the first row which we just specify is the 0. So here how it just makes 0 comma 1 0 sorry 0 comma 0 0 comma 1 and 0 comma 2. And when just coming to the second row, that is 4 5 6, it seems to be as like 1 comma 0 and 1 comma 1 and 1 comma 2. So when we want to extract or to access the element directly by providing the variable with row comma column, so we can just extract the element. And here it prints the value of row 2 and column 2, which is 5. And see here, dear friends, we are using a zero based indexed offset. Okay, now we can also access each of the element in the nested list matrix by retaining their reference index with two variables. Yeah, here we are just going to make use of it with a nested for loop, and let me just make use of it. So here when we are just making use of this print, see the preceding code which uses a for loop to iterate twice, and in the outer loop I, we iterate every single row in matrix M, and in the inner loop J. So we iterate every column in the row. So finally we print the element in the corresponding position as like 1 2 3 4 5 6. So on, see here again I just scroll above how the exact matrix has been stored. It is in the format of 1 2 3 and 4 5 6. So this is how this can be executed. Okay, dear friends, we can also make use of this for loop, where if you want to make use of particular manner, that is the for loop in the code which is used to make it both the rows and columns. Okay, so this type of notation does not require us to have any prior knowledge of matrix dimension. And when I'm just executing, kindly just have a note of it. Even though if we are just want to make use of not only the exact variable which we just specify in the cell 6, and see in the cell 7 we are just directly printing the column alone. So one by one it is just making the variable of the second one which is in the column. And yeah, dear friends, so with this we are able to make how the exact access of the element which is present in the matrix format can be used by nested for loop. And next we just go with a small exercise. See here, dear friends, yeah, we are just going to have the use of nested list for some basic matrix operations. So this matrix operations, what are all the things we are just going to make use is addition and subtraction. So here we are going to have two matrix. One is x, yeah, which is just gives the element variable as 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7 8 9. And yeah, when on just executing this, the x variable which is in the matrix format would be shown as like 1 2 3 in the first row, 4 5 6 in the second row, and 7 8 9 in the third row. And to the same, the second matrix which we are just specifying this as the variable y, and what it just has is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, 17, 18. So when on just executing this, what we just get as the variable y is, yeah, 10, 11, 12 as the first row, and 13, 14, 15 as the second row, and the finally 16, 17, 18 as our third row. So yeah, with this initiation, we are just going to make use of it. Yeah, whenever we just do some operation, we want to make use of one more variable to store our list. And here it is the other, which is just to store the result is the variable result here. Yeah, so as to make a small initialization, let we make it as 3 into 3 matrix also, which it just has 0 as it is initial value. So let I just make that result is equal to 0. So when on making our addition operation, here we are in the form of matrix. So kindly have a note of it, dear friends. So with this matrix, when on just making the additional operation, so here we want to add x and y, and we want to store it into the result. So here we just got the values of x and we just got the values of y, and see, you will use the nested list method. And first one, let we just make use of this, iterate the rows in the matrix X, then it iterate the column. And you do not have to iterate the matrix Y again, because both matrix are of the same dimension. So the result of the particular row, which we just denoted by I, and the particular column, which we just denoted it by J, so equals the sum of the respective rows and columns in the matrix of X and Y. So see here, dear friends, when we just make use of this, so for your information and uh, thing, yeah, so here we are just having our x, y, and results are there. So when I just make that result is equal to x plus y, so here for an example, so this is my first 0 comma 0 in x, it would be added in 0 comma 0 of y, and once on adding I just get the result as 11. And next here it is 2 in 0 comma 1 and 11 in 0 comma 1 of y. So when on adding this both, I just get 13 as my value. So here when on making the as such, so x variables, which we are just having the matrix of x, is added with matrix of y, and the result is stored in the result matrix. So once for all, when on just executing this additional, so which is in the for loop and for nested loop, so here we just get our result as 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, and 23, 25, 27. And kindly just have a note of it, dear friends, all these things are in matrix notations. And you can also perform subtraction using the same two matrix and using the same algorithm with a different operator. And see here, dear friends, here when on just making the addition, wow, we are not just making use of whether it is higher or lower or any other thing, but to have a small initiation. Here what I just making it, I just want to separate x from y. So here, yeah, you can also make the lower, that is yeah, you can just also make 1 minus 7, and yeah, the result would be as minus 6. Yeah, it would be stored in the result. It can be done, but to just have a small example here, what we are just making is, let me just make the higher order in the x, and let me just have the lower value in the y, and when on just making the subtractions of x minus y, and when on just it's storing in the result, and here it is go. So everything here what we just get is the 9 as the value. Okay, dear friends, when on just making this addition or subtraction. So you are able to perform the basic addition and subtraction using these two matrix. And yeah, let me just make the next one as multiplication. See here, dear friends, for multiplication operation, the number of column in the first matrix must be equal to the number of rows in the second matrix. This is what the very main important line to be noted on multiplication operation. And the result will have the same number of rows as the first matrix and the same number of columns as the second matrix. Okay, so for an example, if we just take 3 into 4 or 4 into 3, so in how that exact multiplication would just happens. Yeah, let me just see with an example related with this matrix operation on multiplication. See here, dear friends, so we are just having the variable x, which is just has 1 2 4 5 3 6. So here we are just having the matrix as 3 into 2, and when on just coming to the y matrix, we are having 4 and 2 rows. So here we are just in x we are just having 2 columns, and in y we are having 2 rows. So when on just making this multiplication, yeah, here what I'm just making is, let me have create the zero matrix in the result. So how this is going to be stored is multiplication of whole the rows onto the columns. And yeah, kindly have a notice that when this algorithm, it is just slightly different from the one which we have just already seen as addition and subtraction. And see here, dear friends, when I'm just making this, the iteration of the rows of the second matrix y, as the matrix have different shape, it will just, which is what is mentioned in the previous code I just specified. So see here how this is happening. How this is happening is in the sense, so here x and y, let I just execute it. So here it is just going to store it in the y, sorry, in the result. And see here what we just have, 3 into 2 and 4 into 2, sorry, yeah, 3 into 2 and 2 into 4. So here we are having two columns, and here we are just having two rows. So apart from this, what is the number of rows in x is multiplied by column in y, so that would be the total number of results, the elements in the result. So that is, see here, so when on just making this, we are having 3 rows and two rows, sorry, four columns here. So 3 into 4, we just have 12 elements in the result. So that is what I just want to specify here, dear friends. So when on just making this to be executed, and see here what is our result. So this is how it happens. So I just scroll it above, how you can just make use of the result here. So see here, this one is multiplied with this one and added with this of 5. So 1 2 and 1 5, 4 5, and it just goes for 2 6, and 3 6, it just makes for 3 7. So here as like this, each and every rows we are just going to make use of that column and making the same to this of the rows in the second matrix. So this is how it would be operated. Okay, now let me just move on to the methods in the list. Okay, see here, dear friends, as we have just made it previously, since a list is a type of sequence, it supports all sequence operations and methods. And lists are one of the best data structure to use. So Python provides a set of list method that makes it easy for us to store and retrieve values in order to maintain and update and even extracting the data. So this common operation, what we just make it in Python program, is just going to include slicing, sorting, appending, searching, inserting, and removing. So let me just see one by one with the exact methodology. So what is the first basic operation? Let me just make use of it. See here, dear friend. So as previously discussed, we are having the variable shopping here, and it has the element as bread, milk, and eggs. Okay, hope here. So let I just execute it. And when on making the length of the variable shopping, yeah, here we are just having three elements. So here on executing this, we just get the three. Now, when on just making the operation of plus operator, why here we are just making is, see, before to that, when on just making this length function, it just returns the number of items in object. So when the object is a string, it returns the number of characters in a string. So that is I want to specify it. Okay, now moving on to our concatenation. Yeah, see here, dear friends, when on just making use of this plus operator, and yeah, you can just see the executed output first. So how this is happening? 1 2 3 4 5 6. So when on just concatenating the both the list, so it just means to us as like six element. And list also support many string operations as well, one of which is concatenation, so which is joining two or more lists together. Yeah, you can also make use of the multiplication operator. So here we can just make use of that asterisk symbol, which is just make, it is used for repetition in a list, that is to for duplication. So see here, dear friends, when I'm just making here, so the variable is list 3, and here we are having the element OI. And when I just want to print it thrice, so here the list 3 into 3. So here I just wanted to print 3 times and make my list element to be 3 element. Yeah, even though if you just want to make use of this, let I just show you. So see here, dear friends, I just make my print function of length, and what I just want is, here I just given the list 3. So see here, we are just having the list 3 of it. And if for an example, okay, so let me just move on to the next one. It is accessing an item from the list. See here, dear friends, it is just as like other programming language only. You can use the indexer method to access element in a list. And yeah, let me just see it with an example. See here, as we have discussed previously, the variable shopping, it just has three elements in this, that is bread, milk, and eggs. And when I'm just making you want to access which is in the first index, that is, see here, yeah, we already know the indexer is specified to be the accessing methodology, and here the index starts from 0, and when on just providing one as to that of indexer, we just get the second element. And when on just making use of that, see here, I want to replace the first indexer to be the element banana. And when on just executing it again, see here, our list has been replaced now. Yeah, you can also make use of the other function, that is, you can get or access the element from the reversing order. Yeah, when you just specify what is that in -1, yeah, it just shows the last element. And even though if you want to come from the front, yeah, it is the second indexed element. So this is how, yeah, in both the way you can access the element eggs from providing the indexer. And see here, dear friends, when on making the in Python, a positive index counts forward, and a negative index counts negative, sorry, backward. and you use a negative index to access an element from the back. And yeah, dear friends, when you have learned so far what the exact traditional way of accessing the elements, and yeah, this Python list also support powerful general indexing, which we just say slicing, and it just uses the exact colon notation, and it is in the format of the list. Kindly just have a note of it. This is the list variable, and here we are having the slicing of 0 to 2. So where here what we just have is I comma j, that is I colon j, and where I is the starting element and j it would be the last element. And kindly have a note of it, it won't include the last element. And for an example, if you just provide 0 to 2, and see we are having the 0 index of bread, first index of banana, and second index of eggs. So if we just provide 0 to 2, so here what we just get, yeah, it would be including of 1 and 0 and 1, not the inclusion of 2. So let me just execute and see it. Yes. So see here how this is happening. You can also see here, dear friends, in other way you can just provide it just by listing the element alone, not from the indexing. So if you want to just make all the every element till 2, yeah, you can just specify. So here the starting index, yeah, you can also omit it, and see here the same it happens. Yeah, if you want to list every three elements without any missing, so see here, as we have already know what is the exact index here, 0, 1 and 2. And if you want to execute every three elements to be printed, and if you provide 3, yeah, it just shows 0, 1 and second index of the element. So see here how this is happening. Yes. Yeah, dear friends, and here one more thing is that how you can just print from the element to the list until the end. Until the end, how we are just making it is, see here, you can make use of the initial element as 1. Okay, so initial element is 1 until the end it has to be printed. And see, we are not just going to include the starting index. So the exact element which is just starting is from 1. So now you are able to access elements or items from the list in different way. Okay, let me just see the next one, that is adding an item to the list. See, dear friends, in our previous thing, we have just seen an item from shopping list data, and you have just seen how you can just make use of the accessing, and even though adding an element, and yeah, just replacing also we have just seen it, and how to add element in our list. And see here, dear friends, this one, how we can just make use of it is that by making the method called append. By using the method append, yeah, you are able to make use of it. And kindly just to see, whenever you just use the append, it would be appended in the last. How this is happening, see here, for an example, if you are just making my variable shopping, and yeah, if you want to have the elements as bread, milk and eggs as defaultly, and now I just want to append the new element, that is new item, apple, and once on appended, let me execute it and see, yeah, it was appended to the last. And even though you can just create an empty list, and each and every element whichever you are making in the list, that is you are making into the order, that would be the same as of appended. So it would be added to items to the variable how you are making that append in the order. So here the first it would be the bread, second it would be milk, and third it's eggs, and last it would be the apple. Yeah, and one more thing, dear friends. Yeah, is it possible to add an item as to our convenience? Yeah, it can be done by using insert method. Kindly have a note of it. See here, dear friends, when on just executing this, I just want to insert my second element as ham. So second element is in the sense second index. So second index in the sense, so first it would be the zero as bread, first indexer as milk, and second indexer as ham, and now my third indexer would be eggs, and my fourth indexer would be apple. So that is how we can just make use of. Let I execute this. Yeah, see here. So this is how you can just make use of the list operations and methods, how you can just make use of the insert method, and we have just made use of add element to our list, and which make our list to be in the appending method and inserting orders also thing. Okay, fine, dear friends, let me just see the next topic of dictionary in the next video. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye, dear.